Hello, everybody. It's Final Richard with the top 25 females in rock. Hannah's having a contest right now for 1,000 subs. I'm not going to enter the contest, but I'm going to show a little support and make this video that was inspired by one of her questions, which was name 3 of your favorite females in music. And I'm making this video. I'm going to do it kind of in chronological order, roughly, until I get to the last 3. And those, I think, are the 3 or 4 heavy hitters in rock. I'm going to start off with the band Sly and the Family Stone. Had 2 female members. Rosie Stone was the sister of Sly Stone. And Cynthia Robinson, she was the trumpet player. And Rosie was the keyboards. There they are right there and there. And on this album here, there's some pictures on the back. But I think you can see them. Yeah, here's a good shot of both of them right here. But yeah, I saw Sly and the Family Stone in the very early 70s. And they were one of the best bands I ever saw in concert, to be quite honest. They were absolutely fantastic. The only problem was it was close to an hour before they came on. I mean, they were... Sly was in the back snorting coke, obviously. But, whatever. The next one is Grace Slick from Jefferson Airplane. She started in the Great Society. After Jefferson Airplane's first album, she joined the band, and from there is history, and there she is right there. This is their 3rd album, I think it is, Crown of Creation. And I have a Taiwanese copy of it. And you'll see the back cover, a blow-up of the back cover is the front cover of this. But the funny thing about this one is it's not Jefferson. They misspelled it. Jefferson. Jefferson Airplane. Grace Slick. Now the 3rd female here, a little long in the tooth, but I thought I would show her. Ma Kelly, really good rocker from the early 70s there. One that started in the 60s and was going until quite recently is Joni Mitchell. This is maybe my favorite album by her, Blue. And probably my 2nd favorite by Joni Mitchell. Just fantastic. She started out as a folk singer and she just expanded from there. Now, an all-female rock band in the mid-70s to, 75-ish, I guess. The Runaways, where Joan Jett came from. This is their first album. Here's a good shot of the band. Yeah, when I first moved to the LA area, I worked at a key shop in Hollywood, and the guy I worked with, he kept telling me about this band, the Runaways, that he saw at the Whiskey, and oh, they're great and this and that. So finally, I told my girlfriend, one weekend, let's go to the Whiskey. Well, it was in December, I think, of 76. The Runaways weren't playing, but this band was, Blondie. I had no idea who they were, but I'm including Deborah Harry. They were really good rock band. They got really popular, and to me, not quite as good, but whatever. And here she is here, and there. Great singer. Good singer. Great, not a great singer, but she was a good singer. In England, we have Sushi and the Banshees. You have Susie Sue, one of the original punkers in the UK. She played with Sid Vicious, I believe, and a lot of other people in the very beginnings of punk over there in the UK. I have another album of theirs, but there's no pictures of her, so no need to show it. Now here in the New York scene, you have the Cramps. And a key member of the Cramps was Poison Ivy, the guitar player and songwriter. But yeah, fantastic. This was another band. I saw them in '79, the first time I saw them. And everybody in the band had so much charisma. But you couldn't keep your eye off of this knucklehead, man. He was a trip. And here's a really good bootleg, Werewolf and After Dark. That has a picture of Poison Ivy playing guitar on the cover. Fantastic. Great surf guitar player. Another English, UK punk band, early punk band, The Slits, with their very controversial cover. Really good album. It's a blend of reggae, rock, and punk. Very good album, though. This album, I wasn't a big fan when it came out, but I love it now. Now, this next female, she needs to shave that mustache. She got a little bit of a mustache, but Princess, short, known as Prince. I had a few of her albums, but I've gotten rid of most of them when I did The Purge. This is my favorite Princess album, and really the only one I go to. Now here in LA, in the late 70s, we had X, and the lead singer, Exene, fantastic band. This is their first album. Really great band. In fact, I prefer Exene over John Doe. I mean, John Doe, he's not a bad singer. Here she is right here. But I was there, and he was a dick to one of my friends. And if it wouldn't have been him, if it would have been anybody else, I would have said something. I go, man, you're a fucking asshole, you know? But he could have just got security and kicked us both out, so I didn't say shit. But yeah, he was I mean, it might have been a bad day, so I'm not going to judge the guy, but I guess I am judging him. That's why I haven't bought his book and read it. Yes, he was a dick to one of my friends. And this is their third album, and this is a great shot of her right here. Exene. From Germany. Same time period, maybe a little bit later than the start of X, was Nina Hagen. This is her first album. In fact, this album cover made my video Smoking Hot album covers. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. And she came to, I guess, to New York. And this is an album she made over here. This is a fantastic album. Born in 666, I guess it's called. Or what, I don't know. But yeah, this was, I saw her also in concert, and her band was absolutely top notch. And here's a 12-inch single of New York, New York. This is more of a dance type sound to it. I still like it though. And my final album by her is Ecstasy. This is has Universal Radio on it. It has a cover on here, My Way, but there's another cover I thought on here that I thought was really good. Spirit in the Sky, yeah. Now, I'm not really a rocker, but I'm going to show her Laurie Anderson. She ended up marrying Lou Reed, but I saw her in concert, and it wasn't a rock concert. It was more of an experimental art show. And she would play violin and do kind of like singing and spoken word type stuff and just electronic noise. But visually and sonically, it was one of the most unusual, and it was absolutely spellbinding concert. And that's why I'm including her, man. She was not just a musician, but she was a visual artist, and this is her second album. And I think you can find these albums relatively cheap if you are so inclined. The next one is Bow Wow Wow, and the singer is Annabella Lewin, I believe her name is. And here's a picture of her. This band got started when Malcolm McLaren, or McLaren, whatever, the manager of the Sex Pistols, after they broke up, he convinced 3 members of Adam and the Ants to form their own band under his management. And they were doing tryouts for a singer. And I don't know who it was, but somebody heard her singing. She was a 13-year-old singing in the laundromat. And he convinced McLaren to give her a tryout, and she made the band. They actually added a second singer, Alan O'Dowd, who later, he was short in the band shortly, and he left and formed Culture Club. It was Boy George. And this is a really great album here. Here she is here. This one's the one that I Want Candy, but it's got Baby Oh No, just Cowboy Go Wild in the Country. This is a really good album. Very accessible. It's not as weird as the other one. And this one here is quite good too. Good shot of her. Annabelle Lewin. I don't know if you can hear it, but the neighbor's really jacking up the music. Wendy O. Williams from the Plasmatics. I actually saw them in concert. The very first concert they ever did in the United States was at the Whiskey A Go-Go. And there was a little advert in the calendar section of the LA Times. And it said Plasmatics, first U.S. show. And it didn't really say much more. It might have had a picture of the band. And let's go, you know. Me and my girlfriend went. And then after the show, as we're leaving, my wife goes, now I know why you wanted to go. My girlfriend, who later became my wife, she goes, now I know why you wanted to go to that show. Because she was performing with electrical tape over her boobs, you know. That was about it. And here she is cutting the guitar in half. They did that at the Whiskey show, and it was just complete mayhem. And when the last song was over, it was just, the drums were just all over. It was obvious they weren't going to do an encore. And this is their first full-length album. Wretched, what is it? New Hope for the Wretched. And it's funny, you got the car here. I saw them again at the Olympic Auditorium, and there was actually a Cadillac on the left part of the stage. And during the show, they blew up the Cadillac. I mean, it was all techno. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. But after that explosion, man, the whole auditorium was filled with smoke. Here's their second full length. Yeah, there's nothing to see there. Wendy O. Williams. One of the best goth bands, early goth bands, was 45 Grave. And here we have Dinah Cancer, the singer and writer of songs. This band, when I saw them in concert, I saw them many, many times. But I met a girl at a show, I think it was a Fibonacci show, which was a band that had Maggie Song in it. Maggie Song was a singer of that band. I mean, in punk, the females had a pretty big role in the bands. A lot bigger role than in other genres. But I told her about this band, and she had never heard them. We went, and then they were playing, and she goes, you know what? This sounds a lot like X. And I was thinking about it. Yeah, some of their songs really did. They were excellent musicians, man. And here she is again on the cover of School's Out. Dinah Cancer. Another goth band, the Super Heroines. And this is Eva O. Fantastic, dude. And this gal here, Sandra, what was her name? Sandra Ross. She had so much charisma. I saw them at Al's Bar. Fantastic, dude. And then I saw them again with this lineup. And this has Jill Emery in the band. And afterwards, you know, got to talking with them. We ended up smoking out. But yeah, Eva O. She ended up marrying Roz Williams of Christian Death. She also knew Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Gun Club, another really great LA band, punk band. And they had a member, Patricia Morrison, right here, bass player. She started out as Pat Baggs. She was a founding member of the Bags, a very early punk band from LA, like 78-ish, 77, 78-ish. She played with the Gun Club. She played with Sisters of Mercy. Here's a picture of her here. And she also played with the Damned. And she ended up marrying the singer Dave of the Damned. But yeah, Patricia Morrison. Next we got an all-female band, the Pandoras. This is their first album, and I think their best. It's About Time. And Paula Pierce, fantastic right here. Great songwriter, great guitar player, garage band. They were part of the Paisley Underground. And yeah, they were actually really good in concert too. This is their second album on Rhino Records. After this, I think they went more of a hair metalish sound, I guess. And I haven't really heard those albums. I mean, if I see them, I'll pick them up if they're cheap. The next one is the Bangles. It's not a band that people associate with a rockin' band. But they were, man. And I highly recommend anybody that doesn't have this album, this is the one to get. It's Ladies and Gentlemen, the Bangles. Side 1 has Bitchin' Summer Speedway. It's a surf instrumental song that was on Rodney on the Rock compilation. It's got their first single when they were known as the Bangs, and it's got their first EP on side 1. All really good. It's more of a punk and jangly guitar sound. Side 2 though, man, is what is very cool. You got 4 demo versions here, and then you got a couple of live songs. And these demo versions, man, they're fantastic. And when I heard these, I'm going, wow. You know what would be really great for this band to do is release the demos of their, like the Walking Like an Egyptian, that era. I would like to hear the demos, man, because I have a feeling I probably like it better than I do the finished product. Another one is Rockin' Sydney. Sydney, man, she's a rocker, dude. Cajun, Zydeco, I guess. But yeah. Sydney. This next one, man, they're some pretty ugly chicks. It's Motley Crue. There's one of them that looks pretty good. She's pretty hot, but the others they're not ugly, but anyways, I saw this band 3 times. And I'm going to tell a little story here because that's what Rich does. My cousin Marty, God bless his soul, his dad kicked him out of the house and he moved in with me for like maybe 3 or 4 months. And one weekend I told him, let's go to the Whiskey, man. Check out this band called the Dickies. And I'm telling you, the Dickies live in those early days were so much better than their albums. But yeah, he liked them. But then, like, I don't know, a few weeks later, he goes, hey, let's go back to the Whiskey. I want to turn you on to this band here. And it was Motley Crue was playing at the Whiskey. They didn't have any records out. But the line was like up front, the side, and towards the back. We're standing in line. And And all of a sudden, my cousin Marty goes, "Hey, there's the band." I guess they used to live up in a house or apartment up above in the Hollywood Hills. And they were walking down the hill to the gig. And he goes, "Hey, look it, there's the band." And I go, "Oh man, it's a Chick with Dicks band." And when I said that, everybody turned around and was giving me dirty looks, because I used to have my hair really short, and back then people didn't wear their hair like that too much, I just put it this way, I stood out like a big dick in that crowd. But anyways, they were fantastic, and I even told my cousin, I go, "Man, you know what? They're gonna make it." And 6 months later, they came out with their first album on that leather. It got re-released on Elektra, I guess it is. But I saw them again the following year in the summer at Magic Mountain. They used to have concerts at Magic Mountain. And it was like a different band. They had like skulls and a pentagram, and they had candles, and they came out, and I go, "What the fuck, man? It's a different band." They were still good. And then I saw them a third time, and I guess it was in support of this. They look like a biker band. In fact, the singer came out riding a Harley, But yeah, I saw them 3 times, and every 3 times they looked like a different band. Now, out of the new artists, female new artists, I like Courtney. What's her name? Courtney Barnett. But there's no pictures of her on the records I have, so I'm not going to show it. But my other favorite female is La Luz. Fantastic band, dude. And that's the last gig I've been to, and they are so much better live than I think. Their records don't capture the rawness and power that I was really surprised at how good they were. But yeah, La Luz, fantastic band there. Now we're going to the top 3 or 4, I think, all time in rock. Now, I made a video, the best singers in music of all time. It was basically my 25 favorite singers. And people would say, "Hey, how come you didn't add this one? And how come you didn't add that one?" And of all those, there was one that I did miss, and that was Greg Allman. He should have been in there. That guy has a great soulful voice. And I'm sure there's going to be some here that I forgot. But I want to mention 2. And the reason I'm not showing them is because I don't have any vinyl records. First is Janis Joplin. I like her albums. I don't think she made a great album, though. Maybe Pearl. But all of her albums had high points, but they all had kind of duds. And the other band is Heart. Very good band. Great songwriters, but they weren't really my thing. I was not into album-oriented rock, to be quite honest, in the 70s. And that's why they're not in there. But I do... If I had a normal record collection, they would be in here, but that's why they're not. It's not that I don't think they're good. They are. But anyways, my top hitters, Patti Smith. This is her first album. When this album came out, it was just like nothing before. In fact, on my Gimme 10 1975, I had this as my number 1 album. And I probably played this album more in 76 than any other album I had. This is her second album with a really cool $2.99 price tag on it. Her third album, Easter, with the hit Because the Night. And her fourth album, Wave, and it had the singer the song "So You Want to Be a Rock and Roll Star," the Byrds cover, which wasn't as big a hit, but it was played on the radio. Now I did have an '80s album by her, but in my purge I got rid of that one. It had the '80s sound to it a little too much, Some of the songs were good, but I mean, I'm not going to play it, so why hold on to it? Now, Pretenders, Chrissie Hynde, I always considered her probably to be the best female rocker of all time. This is their first album, and this is their second album, their third album actually. They had an EP in between, and both fantastic. But those are the only two fantastic albums that they made. So her other albums, they have really great songs, but then they have others that aren't as great. And this is a pretty cool. It says promotional album, not for sale. But I don't know. The first side is all live, and then the second side is alive. First song is alive, and then it has the UK 45s on it. But this is really good sound quality. Now, there's two females that I think top Chrissie Hynde now, and PJ Harvey. This is my only record I have of her on vinyl, but I pick her over Chrissie Hynde because she has more than just two great albums. She has quite a few, a string of them in the 90s. Her last album that I heard was more of a piano driven, and I'm not really a fan of it. I need to revisit it. I have it on CD, but when I want to hear her, I listen to her 90s stuff in the early 2000s. But yeah, she has a lot of great albums. She's not for everybody though. In fact, I was listening to this, and the first song, to bring you my love, and I'm playing it, my wife goes, is that a guy or a girl singing, you know? And then it's funny, later on there's a song, she goes, oh, that sounds like Blondie, you know? So, but I think the number one female rockers of all time, L7. There's no females that rocked as hard as these gals, in my opinion. This is their first record, and it might be my favorite. I have all their other albums on CD. I know they've been reissued. I would like to get originals, but I'm probably going to end up getting the reissues. They're on colored vinyl, so I'm kind of leery on how they're going to sound. But they played so hard and raucous, you probably wouldn't even notice. But even though I think they're the number one female, the biggest female artist, rock artist of all time, is Mae Blitz. Now that was one big gal right there. And this album also made my Smoking Hot album covers. But anyways, that's my video for Hannah, Females in Rock. Everybody take care. Hope it wasn't too long. It probably was though. Take care, everybody. Guys and gals.